American tennis is in a tough place. Do you believe that that's just cyclical, or we're going about it the wrong way?
I think there are many factors for that. I'm not in position to offer cure, so I'm not going to criticize either. If I want to criticize, I have to be able to offer solutions. However, I will dissect a little bit. I think what has happened to Australian and American tennis was the boom in Europe, where in the past there were not enough indoor courts and players and juniors played only half a year or 8 months. All of a sudden, they were able to play the entire time. They had federations behind it. They retained the former players to teach the younger players. You can look at Spain and France as great examples. And on top of that, it goes in cycles. I remember in '85 there was John and Jimmy were on the downslide, and USTA was panicking that they have nobody. Well, 5 years later they had Sampras, Agassi, Courier and Chang, which was not a bad generation either. So it's definitely cyclical, but it's going to be harder now because of the bigger global competition. And from very little I know, when I see Jay Berger down in Florida and Patrick McEnroe up here, whenever I get to see in a little bit, I believe they're doing the right things from what I can see. But again, I don't have all the information.
You mentioned McEnroe and Connors. Would anyone else be, in terms of the toughest person that you had to play during your career, whether it was stylistically, the matchup? You spanned through so many great players. Was there one in particular?
No, there's not one in particular. I can go every year of my career, I can say this guy was the toughest guy to play that year, whether it was Borg in '81, because I had to play him at the French Open on clay in the finals, whether it was John and Jimmy in '82, '83, '84 on hard courts and grass, whether it was Mats on clay, or Stefan on grass or hard courts, or Boris on hard courts and grass. It just goes year to year, and each one of them I can make a great case that they're the toughest guy I ever played, and Pete as I was getting older and so on. So no, I'm not going to name one guy.
You took Pete under your wing a little bit early in his career, and then it backfired a little bit when he came out early and he beat you at the US Open that year in the quarterfinals. Do you ever regret that nurturing dynamic with Pete early in his career?
That's funny you mentioned that, because that's the first time I hear somebody saying backfire and whether I regret it. I don't look at it as backfiring. I don't certainly have no regrets. Pete came over and we spent a couple of weeks practicing, and it was great. You could see he has a lot of talent. Of course, I could not predict that he's going to win 14 majors. That never crossed my mind, but you could see that he has potential, and it was fun watching him as an older guy, how well he's starting to do and how great he did.
Nadal against Borg, you mentioned Borg, and I felt the respect you had for him, especially on the clay. What Nadal has done is remarkable on clay, most dominant of any surface of any player. Nadal against Borg, that matchup on clay, that would have been a fun one to watch.
Yeah, again, you can't compare generations because of the speed difference and physique difference and so on and so on. But I think Bjorn would have had a good game to play Rafa if everything else was being equalized in terms of training methods and so on, because of his good two-handed backhand. And it would have been fun to watch. We could be there for a while. Watch a couple hours, take a couple hour nap and go back, watch again for the third set.
Ivan, there has to be some sort of irony in the fact that you spent so much of your life and career being the alpha male, and now you are surrounded by estrogen everywhere. 5 daughters, you're completely outnumbered 6-1 in your own house. That has to be unique, to say the least.
I always like to kid my family, my wife and the kids, that my 2 German Shepherds, males, have the deciding vote.
Do you take some sort of solace in the fact that they say that great athletes have daughters? And I've proven that by starting off with a son.
Wow. I just know that I had 2 coaches, Feedback and Roach, and both had 2 daughters, and I was making always fun of them, so it's a payback.
3 of your daughters played high-level college golf. Did you enjoy sharing a sport that you love with them?
Yeah, I did. We had a great time going to the junior events. I never really went too much to the college events, but I went probably to 3 or 4, and I still have one playing at Alabama. But a very amazing thing, probably has nothing to do with this interview, but it's so amazing. that it happened was I was at a college event in Florida, and Marika and Isabel played for Florida. And before the last round, Marika was, I think, third or fourth, and Isabel was tied for the lead. And with 1 hole to go, Marika is 1 shot ahead of Isabel and playing group in front of her. And she hits a 5-wood to the green to about a foot. And Isabel didn't see that. And Isabel goes, now it's going to be one of them winning because the other girls fell away. And so Isabel is standing in the fairway with a 4-iron in her hand, and I'm by the green now. And Marika taps it in for a birdie to be 2 shots ahead of Isabel. And Isabel takes a 4-iron and hits it, and it starts rolling on the green. And as soon as I see it, I know it's going in. It was the same line as Marika's. It had enough speed, and it was literally like slow motion. It took like 5 minutes, felt like, and the ball just rolls into the cup. I'm the only one who knows that they tied for the win. So a few holes back, I was walking, and I said to the coach, how is it going? She goes, well, I wish they could both win. So as it's done, the coach is still walking with Isabel up, and Marika thinks she won because Isabel had a bad stretch, but she went 4 under on the last 6. And Isabel thinks she won because she thought Marika was tapping in for par. It never crossed her mind that it was for birdie. So the coach looks at me and says, what do you think, Dad? And I say back to her, I said, I think you got your wish. My kids have no idea what I just said. The coach freezes because she realized they tied. and then they found out, and it was really funny. But it was just amazing. You can never expect, out of all the events you don't go to, and then you go to one that year, and that happens.